Welcome to your KTVB Plus weather forecast. Here we're talking a little bit more in depth about what you can expect through the rest of the week. And today we are hitting it midweek going into the weekend. But as we were in Wednesday, we had lots of storms that came in through the early morning hours, and that continued through the rest of the day. So here's what's on the way as we continue on through the rest of the week. As we had a stormy Wednesday, those thunderstorms could continue as we head on into Friday for portions up into the mountains. So pretty similar on Thursday. Same thing on Friday, and then as we head on into the weekend, things look to dry out just a little bit, and those temperatures not really kind of changing day to day as we get into the early next week, as some of these temperatures look to stick around into the upper 80s. So that ridge of high pressure early on into the week that brought us those temperatures that got really into record challenging territory, that has since flattened, and we're expecting again temperatures to stay pretty steady, and that system will continue its move through the rest of the week. And then again, we're anticipating some of these storms to more stick around into the mountains. So as we fast forward, this is looking on into Thursday and looking across the country and what we can expect as we have lots of rain coming through St. Louis, places there in Memphis, all the way through the East Coast. So that's where most of that rain and precipitation is coming along. And even looking at places closer in kind of our neighboring states here in places like Colorado and out in Rapid City and Billings, we're seeing some of that precipitation that'll continue all the way in through the weekend. But as you can take a look here, we don't see much of that. The only thing that we could see is maybe some clouds that come overhead, as it'll come with some limited moisture in terms of a system that comes in through for the weekend. But as we look at the futurecast and take a closer look here as we're looking at Thursday, this is just kind of a more zoomed in look. We go all the way through Thursday, getting in through the afternoon hours, and that's where we can anticipate some of that system coming in. Maybe some thunderstorms come along and maybe some strong thunderstorms. But again, with the severity of some of the storm systems that we saw coming on Wednesday, much weaker as we come into Thursday afternoon, and very similar as we start to head into Friday afternoon, with much drier conditions anticipated as we fast forward. So again, looking at this upper level pattern, there's just kind of a different view, seeing some of the temperature contours, the ridges, and sort of the troughs that we're seeing through the rest of the week. We're going to anticipate those temperatures again staying pretty steady, and that looks to continue on Friday, Saturday, even into Sunday, and it looks even possible to extend all the way into the middle of next week if these temperatures could stick around the mid to upper 80s, with even those morning temperatures sticking around the upper to mid 50s as we continue on through the middle of next week. So looking at the next 5 days in terms of that temperature trend, not changing too far off day to day, as temperatures expect to get near 90 on Thursday, into the upper 80s continuing on into Saturday, and then pretty close there as those temperatures don't really seem to budge from the upper 80s, still maintaining ourselves above average, as normally we see the upper 70s for this time in June, but still those temperatures will be much cooler from the start of this week. And as we look at some of the mountains after the systems that we see come through, we're expecting those temperatures to stay into the mid 70s, and then morning temperatures staying pretty mild, staying into the upper 40s for many spots. So as we look at the 7-day forecast here, Twin Falls and places in the Magic Valley, again, that's pretty much going to be the story here for the next couple of days. And even leading into the week, as we're going to look at places in the Magic Valley, the Treasure Valley, and up into the mountains, as we stick around the upper 80s there, sticking around 88 degrees through Sunday. Lots more sunshine, maybe seeing some clouds make their way overhead in the beginning of next week there as we head on into Tuesday. And then looking at the 7-day forecast, after this stormy Wednesday, we are anticipating those temperatures to stick around and staying relatively mild through the mornings, with temperatures getting close to 60 and then staying into the upper 80s all the way through the middle of next week.